Efforts to protect daycares following a devastating and deadly crash.
A toddler killed, several other children injured. The new measures being proposed. Good evening. It was a heartbreaking scene. A vehicle through a Richmond Hill daycare with children and staff inside. Now, the province says it plans to take steps to try and prevent a similar tragedy from happening again. CTV's Janice Golding joins us live with reaction. Janice.
Hi, Nathan. Well, in the wake of a devastating crash that claimed the life of a Richmond Hill toddler, the education minister is proposing legislative changes to keep kids safer. We have reaction now from those who work in the industry as well as from parents. At 3 p.m. Wednesday, a dark SUV drove through the window of the First Roots Early Education Academy near Elgin Mills and Yonge, continued through 3 rooms of the daycare, and smashed through the window on the opposite side of the building. There were 96 children inside. An 18-month-old boy would lose his life. 2 other children sustained critical injuries, while 4 more children were hurt, along with 3 staff members. Now, Education Minister Paul Calandra is proposing that childcare operators in municipalities prevent the use of parking spaces adjacent to entryways, windows, and exterior walls or playgrounds. This would apply to all childcare facilities in Ontario, with the exception of those operated out of private homes. The Education Minister also says the government will make any necessary legislative or regulatory changes necessary to make sure municipalities and landlords permit the installation of protective barriers in these settings, like bollards, planters, and elevated curbs. Here's what parents had to say about the proposed changes today.
Safety first. That's the most important, absolutely.
I think they should definitely put guarding rails or something to cover the entrances.
Will it make things better? I don't know, but yeah, I think that it's definitely something we should consider.
The Ontario Coalition for Better Childcare says it's glad the province is reacting quickly, but says any new requirements should come with financial support. Meanwhile, Krista O'Connor, CEO of Creative Beginnings Childcare Centre, says she shares those concerns, but has other worries about safety.
My fear is if you remove the childcare spaces from being up against the building, it means that now children are walking from somewhere else in a potentially an active parking lot to the childcare building, which means if a parent or a caregiver has multiple children or more than one, they're trying to navigate that and keep children safe across a parking lot, which actually I think would cause the risk for harm would be higher.
O'Connor says, however, barriers might be a good idea, although she thinks more consultation needs to take place. She suggests, for example, a study on the types of facilities that are struck in any given period, as well as a focus on driver safety standards, particularly around age-related testing. A 70-year-old man was charged with 1 count of dangerous operation causing death, as well as 2 counts of dangerous operation causing bodily harm. He was released yesterday on $25,000 bail. Police say there could be more charges laid as the investigation continues. Reporting live, I'm Janice Golding. Now back to Michelle.
Thank you, Janice. A 21-year-old man and a 16-year-old boy have been arrested in connection with a home invasion and carjacking in Bowmanville on Wednesday night, and police have released the chilling 911 call and surveillance video from the incident.
What's the emergency?
He's broken in and I've got a knife. He's got a knife. He's in the garage.
Do you know who he is?
In the 911 call, you can hear a man tell the operator there is a suspect with a knife in his garage. The surveillance video showing the suspect rolling under the garage door as it closes. Police say the suspect chased a woman with a knife and then chased her husband when he rushed to her aid. Police say the couple was able to get in their home, but then the suspect tried to push the door open. Eventually, he gave up and drove off in the stolen Mercedes G-Wagon. A police helicopter was able to track the stolen vehicle and a getaway vehicle being driven by a second suspect on Highway 401. Police followed them to a commercial parking lot in the area of McNichol Avenue and Mogul Drive in North York. The second suspect got into the G-Wagon there, but police officers on the ground then moved in and were able to box in the stolen vehicle as it was leaving the lot. Both suspects are from Toronto and face several charges.
Still ahead, an arrest in the manhunt for Charlie Kirk's killer. What we know about the suspect now in custody and how police managed to track him down. But first, we're heading into a busy weekend in the city with no shortage of things to do.
But there could be an extra challenge getting around thanks to a significant transit disruption for people heading into Toronto. Our John Musselman joins us live with all the details. John.
Well, Michelle, there won't be as many GO trains like this moving towards the downtown core. A lot of people will have to rely on GO buses to get some critical track work done. It's a busy weekend in the city. The Blue Jays continue their playoff push at the Rogers Center. TIFF is entering its final weekend, and there are some big-ticket concert events, including Lady Gaga at the Scotiabank Arena on Saturday night. Thousands of people will be coming downtown for these events, but for GO train users coming from the west, they will need to brace for some service disruptions on a stretch of the GO Lakeshore West line.
I do have plans in Toronto with my friends, so it will definitely make the commute a little bit more tough for me.
There will be no GO train service between the Oakville and Exhibition GO stations. Here's a breakdown. Starting Saturday, September 13th until the end of service on the 14th, the Lakeshore West Line rail service will be temporarily modified to accommodate critical track work. Replacement buses will serve Oakville and Clarkson GO and then direct between Clarkson GO and Union Station. There will be no GO transit services at Port Credit, Long Branch, or Mimico. Commuters expressed mixed reaction to the service changes.
My understanding is that there are several tracks, and so it would seem odd that they're not able to utilize at least one or two tracks with a slightly slower and less frequent service.
I'm going home on Saturday, so it doesn't bother me at all. I'm mutual about it. Like, they have to do what they have to do. I don't care.
In a statement released by Metrolinx officials, they defend the decision to get this work done, saying, quote, Toronto is a vibrant city where events are always taking place on weekends, but it is critical that this infrastructure work is completed to enable more transit service. In the case of this weekend's Lakeshore West track closure, crews are performing critical track work and maintenance to support the future addition of service while expanding key areas of the corridor along the Lakeshore West line. And keep in mind, if you plan to drive in, there will be multiple road closures around the city. Big festivals, including the Ukrainian Cultural Festival on Bloor Street West and the Polish Festival on Ronsonsville, are both happening this weekend. And we're hearing from Metrolinx that service on the GO train lines will be back to normal on Monday morning. Reporting live, I'm John Musselman. I'll send it back to you.
Thank you, John. Also tonight, it served thousands when HIV was considered a death sentence. A Toronto hub for care and community is closing after more than 40 years. And part of the reason is something we can all be grateful for.
But first, a look at the forecast. Here's a live shot of Nathan Phillips Square. A lovely looking evening, comfortable, just a slight cool down tonight. And this warm weather trend will continue over the weekend, so we are in luck. Lindsay Morrison has a look at how things are now. Lindsay.
Yeah, Nathan, happy Friday. And it looks like the patio season is about to be extended. I'll show you what I'm talking about in the 7-day forecast coming up. But yeah, tonight, great opportunity to maybe enjoy dinner outside or go for an evening stroll. It's 21 degrees, but it feels more like 24. Here's a look at the current wind speed coming out of the southeast, light in nature, so a nice calm evening once again. We have seen a little bit of an increase in cloud cover today, but overall it is still very pleasant. Here is your stargazing forecast for tonight. Whether you're just going to be looking at the sky or heading down to TIFF for the final weekend, you can expect the temperature will be around 18 degrees through the mid to late evening tonight. But we've got lots to talk about in your weekend forecast, including the chance of showers tomorrow. Details are coming up. For now, Nathan, back to you.
Thank you, Lindsay. The union representing Canada Post workers is making a couple of changes amid stalled contract talks with the Crown Corporation. A ban on overtime work by employees will end. The Canadian Union of Postal Workers says the move follows concerns by the corporation about its impact on operations. But starting Monday at 12:01 a.m., workers will stop delivering flyers to homes and businesses.
For us, this is a bargaining issue that's on the table currently. Delivering flyers, people aren't being paid properly for the work of delivering the flyers, similar to how the Air Canada workers aren't being paid for all hours that they work as well. And also, it's a health and safety concern because some of the flyers are oversized and heavy, and therefore the work-life balance and the health and safety, that's also one of our demands to fix health and safety issues. So for us, switching from the overtime ban, we heard Canada Post say how, it was impacting them, that the overtime ban was impacting them. So by lifting this, we're now changing to this one to cause less impact on Canada Post of what they're claiming is going to happen.
The union says it hopes the change will help secure a deal before the lucrative holiday rush. Canada Post says it's disappointed with the flyer ban, which will affect Canadian businesses that use the service and the corporation's finances. A spokeswoman says this latest strike activity will only increase the uncertainty that is having a major impact on the business. We encourage Cup W to come back with workable solutions that reflect our current reality and get the parties closer to a resolution. Canada Post says the gap between the two sides remains substantial.
Meanwhile, today was day 2 on the picket lines for Ontario College support staff. 10,000 OPSU members walked off the job after the union and post-secondary institutions failed to agree on a new contract. The workers say they are pushing for better wages, benefits, and job security. The College Employer Council says the union's demands would expose colleges to more than $900 million in additional costs. OPSU members are holding a virtual town hall to discuss the ongoing strike this evening. The general manager of the Hamilton Tiger Cats, Ted Gouveia, has died in his first season with the team. The Burlington native was named as the Ticats GM last December, following 11 years with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, where he won 2 Grey Cups. Gouveia had described his Southern Ontario homecoming as his dream job and revealed in June that he'd been battling a serious form of cancer.
He was a guy who loved football, loved the work, and loved the people in the game of football. And that was a two-way street. There are extremely heavy hearts all across the Canadian Football League, because Ted Gouveia was one of those guys, whether you saw his number pop up on your phone or you ran into him on the sidelines before a game, he was always there with a smile and a conversation about something going on in football. And that's really who he was.
The Tiger Cats said in a statement today, Ted was a highly respected leader, colleague, and friend whose passion and commitment for Canadian football left a lasting impact on everyone who had the privilege of knowing him. His dedication to the game and to the Tiger Cats family will never be forgotten. We extend our heartfelt condolences to Ted's family, friends, and loved ones during this difficult time. And the Ticats will honor his impact on Canadian football tonight during what they are calling a Team Ted home game against Winnipeg. He was 55.
There's been an arrest in the fatal shooting of American political commentator Charlie Kirk.
A 22-year-old man from Utah is in custody following an intensive manhunt. CTV's Joy Malvin has the update.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We got him.
With those words, authorities identified 22-year-old Tyler Robinson of Utah as a suspect in connection with the targeted killing of conservative activist Charlie Kirk. After these images were released last night and a video of a suspect jumping from a rooftop, police say Robinson's father confronted his son and, with the help of a youth pastor, convinced him to turn himself in.
A family friend who contacted the Washington County Sheriff's Office with information that Robinson had confessed to them or implied that he had committed the incident.
A family member told investigators Robinson had become more political, expressing anger in chat groups and to friends.
Robinson mentioned Charlie Kirk was coming to UVU. They talked about why they didn't like him and the viewpoints that he had. The family member also stated Kirk was full of hate and spreading hate.
Police found a high-powered rifle and bullet casings with disturbing messages. As for motive, here's what the governor said.
The clearest one that says catch fascist, there's not, and by the way, that's like catch like a ball, catch this. I think that speaks for itself.
Kirk, a husband and father, was a rock star in the MAGA movement, debating controversial subjects like transgender issues, and a fierce ally of Donald Trump, who broke the news on air.
I hope he gets the death penalty. What he did, Charlie Kirk was the finest person. He didn't deserve this.
As Utah's governor pleaded for political healing.
This is our moment. Do we escalate or do we find an off-ramp? And again, it's a choice.
Robinson was arrested and charged with aggravated murder. He faces federal charges next week. Police believe he acted alone and is being held without bail. Joy Malvin, CTV News, Washington.
Surviving the trade war with the U.S. requires getting Canadian goods to more markets. That's why 2 ports are on the federal government's major projects list. CTV's Judy Trin takes a look at the projects in Quebec and Manitoba.
Expanding the Port of Montreal is one of the major projects on the fast track for approval. It's a gateway to new markets in Northern Europe and Africa.
We'll advance projects that turbocharge and connect our regional economies.
The port is bursting. Authorities say if it doesn't increase its capacity, Canadian companies may have to go through U.S. ports to ship across the Atlantic Ocean.
If Canadian companies that are now exporting to the U.S. choose another destination, with a modest 6%, the Port of Montreal will be full. So if we don't have any more capacity, what will happen is those companies will use an American port.
When it's built, the Contrecoeur terminal will reduce emissions while increasing the port's capacity by more than 1 million containers. The federal government is promising to greenlight construction this fall so the project can be finished by 2030.
The Major Projects Office will enable us to take those final steps as quickly as possible.
We are referring Port of Churchill Plus.
The port in northern Manitoba is also being considered for streamlined approvals. It's an Indigenous-led project. The plans here include using icebreakers to extend operations beyond the summer and improving roads and train routes to bring resources from the west to ship out.
So that customers can go on a year-round or close to year-round basis. So that's really the game changer, and it really allows us to diversify that trade to Europe and diversify ourselves away from the U.S.
Building a port in the Arctic is also under consideration for fast tracking. The goal for these projects of national importance is to have them approved within 2 years. Once that happens, they'll also be in line for significant federal funding. Judy Trin, CTV News, Ottawa.
In the Middle East, health authorities in the Gaza Strip say Israeli strikes killed at least 40 Palestinians. Most of the casualties occurred in Gaza City. In New York, the UN General Assembly voted to support a two-state solution and urge Israel to commit to a Palestinian state. The non-binding resolution endorses a declaration that sets out a phased plan to end the nearly 80-year conflict between Israel and the Palestinians. Hours before the vote, Israel's prime minister said there will be no Palestinian state.
NATO is bulking up its defensive posture on its eastern flank. The move follows an incursion by Russian drones into Polish territory.
The reckless behavior we have seen from Russia is deeply dangerous. Our assessment of the incidents on Wednesday is ongoing. And whether or not Russia's actions were deliberate, Russia's violated NATO airspace. Therefore, we must, as NATO, make clear our resolve and our ability to defend our territory. And that is exactly what Eastern Sentry is designed to do.
New Allied equipment will be deployed to deter potential Russian aggression after a number of drones crossed into Poland Wednesday. European leaders insist it was a deliberate provocation by Moscow. NATO member Canada says it will help however it can with the new operation on the eastern flank. Ottawa summoned Russia's ambassador to Canada on Wednesday and reprimanded him over the incursion into Poland.
Prince Harry arrived in Ukraine for a surprise visit in support of wounded service members. The Duke of Sussex was in Kyiv on his second visit to Ukraine since the start of Russia's invasion. En route to the capital, the prince told a UK newspaper, "We cannot stop the war, but we can do everything we can to help the recovery process." Harry was scheduled to spend time with 200 veterans and meet Ukraine's prime minister. We turn to the end of an organization that has helped countless people living with HIV and AIDS for more than 4 decades.
The AIDS Committee of Toronto became a vital resource during the height of the AIDS crisis. But as treatment and needs of those needing services change, the organization has decided to close its doors. CTV's Beth McDonnell reports.
Fashion Cares was an internationally recognized annual event that drew big names raising money and awareness for HIV/AIDS. Now, the organization behind it, AIDS Committee of Toronto, or ACT, is shutting down after 42 years.
It has had a very personal connection to people living with HIV in Toronto. This is something that people thought would be here forever. And so this is really hard news for us to be able to share.
The reasons are twofold. ACT says not only have donations and funding dried up, but medical advances and proper treatment are allowing people to live full, healthy lives.
I'm still in shock, I think. Like, it's devastating, like, to know that they're going to be closing, because where is everybody going to go now?
Keith Showers works in harm reduction in the village. He's living undetected, which means he can't transmit the virus. He tested HIV positive in 2006. ACT was the first place he reached out to.
It helped me navigate, learning about HIV and how to cope with it, and giving me other like-minded people to relate to, and it was just it was great for that.
ACT began in 1983 when HIV was still considered a death sentence. Then it mostly focused on advocacy, growing into a place that helped people with medical, mental health, and employment services. At its height, serving tens of thousands, today 800 people. But despite the drop in clients and progress made, some who work with ACT say it's still needed in the city.
This is really going to be, a huge gap to fill. As I said, they're very low barrier. They're also discreet, location. They're very accessible. So it's going to definitely be a huge challenge to the communities.
So you're going to see a lot of people that I feel like are going to be ill-informed. ACT is like a huge beacon when it comes to HIV, so that's where a lot of people would go. And I think some of the other places are a little less known.
ACT calls the decision to close bittersweet and says it will be working with clients to find alternative resources. Beth McDonnell, CTV News, Toronto.
Coming up, the new reality on the red carpet, a window into the world of influencers and their access in an era where content is king.
And I'm Pat Foran. Coming up, it's Feedback Friday. More people tell us they were almost caught in the free inspection roofing scam. More viewers say they'll continue to avoid the U.S. and vacation in Canada. And AI-generated scams involving cryptocurrencies continue to be a huge problem. Feedback Friday is just ahead.
Well, if you're spending part of your weekend in cottage country, you are a little more likely to experience wet weather into the day tomorrow, but it won't be a washout. In fact, the weekend's looking quite nice. Into next week, bit of an omega blocking pattern, and that means heat. It also means pretty dry conditions. We'll give you an idea of when our next best chance of wet weather will be coming up. And stay with us. We've got another full night of great shows for you right here on CTV.
When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400 from your screen to ours. Text 10400.
We had a lot of reaction to our recent stories on roofing scams, credit card glitches, and Canadians avoiding travel to the U.S.
We also continue to hear from viewers who have lost money investing in cryptocurrencies after seeing AI-generated scam videos. Here's Pat Foran with Feedback Friday. Pat.
Thanks, Michelle and Nathan. Canadians lost more than $340 million to fraud this year, with many getting caught in cryptocurrency scams. A woman phoned me today because she saw a story with the Prime Minister. I told her it was an AI-generated fake and to save her money. Brenda Dion invested in cryptocurrencies after watching a deep fake video of Prime Minister Mark Carney.
From that point on, the algorithm earns on your behalf.
After she handed over banking information, she was scammed out of $16,000.
I said, I don't want you taking this money out of my account.
Most frauds involve altered video using AI to make it appear someone is saying to invest in a platform, which is completely fake. You may also see AI-generated photos and fake stories. Daniel wrote, how is it Facebook, YouTube, and other social media platforms show what are clearly investment scams with the Prime Minister? Why are they not held accountable? Did your chimney have problems?
Not that I was aware of.
Richard Morris says a company rang his doorbell and offered to do a free chimney inspection, but once they were on his home, they damaged his roof. He was scammed out of $30,000 and had to pay another $10,000 to repair it.
I was suspicious from the get-go.
Cynthia told us the free inspection scam is also happening in Durham. We had a contractor damage our roof and then try to charge us thousands to fix it. We said we would call the police, and he left. Amanda Woodward had a line of credit approved for $7,500. She was shopping for back-to-school items when her credit card was declined.
They told me that the card was given to me in error.
Scotiabank said due to an error, some of its clients were approved for credit cards they were not eligible for. Gary told us, I also got caught in the Scotiabank glitch. Now I have debt to pay with interest and a canceled credit card. A new survey found many Canadians changed their summer plans to avoid crossing the U.S. border. 26% changed, postponed, or canceled their U.S. travel plans. 30% of Canadians decided to travel to other provinces, while 44% decided to travel within their own province.
This is great news.
Jeff wrote, our golfing group used to go to Myrtle Beach. This time we decided to spend a week in Belleville. Nice courses, short drive, and kept the money in Canada.
And U.S. border towns are noticing the decrease in Canadian travelers. One New York golf club reported seeing a drop of $400,000 U.S. in Canadian golf revenue as Canadians keep their golf clubs on this side of the border. On your side, I'm Pat Ford.
If you have a consumer story idea, email us at alert@ctv.ca.
Well, Pat's talking about golf there. I mean, it's been an amazing month for golf. We've got the sun, dry conditions. We also have the nice temperatures, and they're stretching right into the weekend.
Yeah, you can golf this weekend or do anything outdoors. Like this beautiful trend is just continuing all weekend.
Yeah, condition-wise, it might be slightly different. We might get a little more cloud. There's a slight chance of a shower, but if you're enjoying the warmth, well, I have news for you. It's going to get even warmer into next week. In fact, it could be feeling close to 30 at times. So never mind fall. Summer is hanging on a little bit longer here in southern Ontario. Sure looked like summer earlier today. This was out on the water, Lake Ontario. Beautiful place to be today. Love seeing the ships and the sailboats out and about. Yeah, this was a nice kickoff to the weekend. Tomorrow, as mentioned, conditions change somewhat, but we're really not looking at any measurable rain this weekend or really over the next 5 to 7 days. I'll show you what I'm talking about in just a moment with the 7-day forecast, but let's begin with the here and now. 21 degrees feels like 24 this hour in the city of Toronto. It's been a hot day in Windsor. It's currently 25 degrees. You'll find it a little bit cooler in places like Wyerton and North Bay. A little bit of active weather once again in the Nickel Belt region, keeping things unsettled and cool. Delhi making it to 27 degrees today. So southwestern Ontario feeling the heat and the warmth. We're going to feel a little more of that as we make our way into next week, but it's also going to be a little humid this weekend. Overnight tonight, we drop to a low of about 14 degrees on the warm side of seasonal, partly cloudy skies and light winds. Tomorrow, a little more in the way of cloud cover. We are going to see that cloud increase, slight chance of showers. We are also going to enjoy some sunny breaks, especially into the afternoon. And look at that temperature, 25 degrees. Humidex 29, and it's very similar right across the board in southwest Ontario around the Golden Horseshoe. You do have a better chance of seeing some showers or some light rain if you are east or north of the GTA. So let's get to the forecast radar so we can show you what's happening. There's that little bit of an increase in cloud cover that's been happening the last couple of hours. Still a mainly sunny day for the most part. And the wet weather that's been falling east of Lake Superior. Here's how this plays out. So yeah, bit of a disturbance east of Georgian Bay as we are waking up tomorrow morning. Timing-wise, around 6, 7 a.m., that's when you can expect the round of rain there. For us here in the GTA, it is a cloudy start. Chance of showers in the morning and in the afternoon. Look at that little blip on the forecast radar. I think most areas are going to remain dry tomorrow. And again, we will get quite a few sunny breaks in through the afternoon. Sunday has the potential to start off a little bit cloudy, and then we clear in the afternoon. This looks like a great day. Monday, similar situation. In fact, much of next week is looking mainly sunny and warm. There's one more look at the weekend. Let's talk about Monday, 25 degrees, feeling like 28. Look at this run of sun again. If you thought this week was dry, next week looks awfully similar, feeling like 30 at times as we make our way, especially toward the second half of next week. Eyeing Friday for the potential of maybe a few showers, but at this point, it's not necessarily looking like measurable rain. So we might start talking a little bit more about September drought conditions as we progress through the month. That's the weather for now. Stay with us, CTV News. We'll be right back.
Thank you, Lindsay. Also tonight, a popular HBO series could be making a return and a peek at the next Super Mario movie. We'll get you caught up on that and what's set to dominate the weekend box office.
We're heading into the final weekend of the Toronto International Film Festival.
It's a chance for filmmakers and stars to promote their movies. And as CTV's Andrea Case reports, the people joining the red carpet is evolving.
Red carpet after red carpet at TIFF, stars, directors, and producers all walk the walk, posing for pictures and taking part in interviews, from Jessie Buckley to Emily Watson. All who are attending are on what's known as a call sheet. Oscar nominee Paul Mescal may be one of the most sought-after stars of Hamnet, but on this carpet, 9 of the 21 faces listed were influencers. Some came with camera crews in tow.
I would never consider myself an influencer.
It's interesting because I was also invited to be on the other side of the carpet where you are, and I had to make the choice of which one I wanted to do.
It's the first year that influencers have been invited to walk carpets, which is cool because you see it sometimes in States and everything, but it's fun that it's happening here, and they're, treating us for the creatives that we are and the content that we share, and that it has value and it's important and it helps boost the festival and boost Toronto, and that's all I care about.
Carly Fortune is a best-selling author whose books are currently being made into movies.
When it comes down to it, it's an influencer, somebody people trust, whose opinions people take seriously. And that's a really important job that comes with a lot of power, I think.
It's surreal, but the favorite thing about it is I'm here with Mom. She is a huge TIFF fan. Every year she goes to TIFF. Funny enough, this year she didn't get any tickets just because of busyness, and here we are walking the red carpet. I'm just so happy to see her smile.
The studio is no doubt looking for a favorable review, but it's not guaranteed.
I mean, that's with anything. I think what's great about being a creator is having your own opinions about certain things. And I think opinions are very valuable because if you like everything, you become unauthentic.
Oh, I plan to love this film. I have heard great things.
Andrea Case, CTV News.
Reports out of Hollywood suggest a popular HBO series is making a return.
We're kidding ourselves if we think people will stop talking.
You're one of the Monterey Five, right?
Big Little Lies tells the story of a group of California mothers whose lives are turned upside down by a homicide investigation. The show is an adaptation of writing by Leanne Moriarty, and she's planning to release a sequel next year. Variety reports deals are in place to produce a third season with Nicole Kidman and Reese Witherspoon again leading the cast. Season 2 was released in 2019.
Well, video game fans are getting their first look at the next Super Mario Brothers movie. The first Super Mario movie debuted in 2023 and claimed the title of the highest-grossing film adaptation of a video game. And just a few months later, it was confirmed a sequel was on the way. And today it was confirmed it will be called the Super Mario Galaxy movie. That's a reference to a hit 2007 game of the same name. It's scheduled to hit theaters in April, with Chris Pratt, Anya Taylor-Joy, and other original cast members returning.
And a fellow animated film is expected to dominate the box office this weekend. A movie from the Demon Slayer franchise is on track to claim #1. Deadline says ticket sales forecasts range from $35 to $60 million US across North America. That's expected to beat the second weekend of The Conjuring: Last Rites and newer releases like Downton Abbey, the grand finale, and The Long Walk.
Our relationship with the planet and the impact on the environment is the focus of an all-new exhibit at the University of Toronto. CTV's Jessica Smith checked it out today and has more.
Bringing into focus the visible and invisible impacts of the climate crisis and our shared environment.
So initial inspiration for the exhibition was just surrounding the simple question, what does it mean to apprehend things that are not representable?
Dwelling Under Distant Suns is a new exhibition at the Art Museum at Hart House in Toronto, showcasing local artists and their interpretations of environmental impacts, past, present, and future.
It begins with an inquiry as to how do we inherit a history or different histories, and can history be remobilized in a way to make the present moment more urgent?
Through a combination of videos and stills, the exhibition offers up a different way to consume information about environmental impacts.
One of the reasons to bring in durational medias like film works is to really expand time in the sense. in both its abstract and concrete terms.
Inviting visitors to have the opportunity to experience and relate to the work in their own way.
I really want the audience to sort of come in to really sit and engage with the stories in the works. I don't want to force any very fixed narratives on what the audience must take away from the exhibition.
The exhibition at the Art Museum here at Hart House is free to attend and will be in place until December 20th. Jessica Smith, CTV News.
Also tonight, the future is electric as far as the city's concerned, showcasing Toronto's fleet of EVs on the road to zero emissions.
Hey there, Toronto. I'm Teddy Wilson.
And I'm Nicole Servina, so welcome to Things to Know TO.
Welcome indeed. So each week our show shines a spotlight on some of the awesome businesses, services, initiatives, and events right here in our fantastic GTA community.
It's companies like these that make Toronto one of the world's greatest, most vibrant cities, and also a pretty great place to work, play, and live in.
Well said. So join us every Saturday on Things to Know TO.
And don't forget, you can catch all of our episodes on our website, thingstoknowto.ca.
Safety first. That's the most important, absolutely.
They're trying to navigate that and keep children safe across a parking lot, which actually I think would cause the risk for harm would be higher.
Updating our top stories, the province is proposing new safety rules for parking lots located next to childcare facilities. This follows Wednesday's crash at a daycare in Richmond Hill that left an 18-month-old boy dead and 6 children and 3 staff members injured. The changes would stop the use of adjacent parking spaces to ensure there are no limits on the building of protective barriers.
They're very accessible, so it's going to definitely be a huge challenge to the communities.
An organization that played a key role in supporting the city through the AIDS crisis is shutting down. The AIDS Committee of Toronto began in 1983 and grew from an advocacy group to a place that helped connect people to health and social supports. ACT says it's closing because donations and funding have dried up and changes in community needs thanks to medical advances and improved access to treatment.
I do have plans in Toronto with my friends, so it will definitely make the commute a little bit more tough for me.
And as we head into a busy September weekend of festivals and other events, attendees who rely on the Lakeshore West Line will have to navigate service disruptions because of track work. Trains will only run in 2 areas, between Union and Exhibition, and between Oakville to Niagara Falls. Replacement buses will serve Oakville and Clarkson Go and then run directly to Union.
Remember to keep up to date day and night at ctvnewstoronto.ca and by downloading the CTV News app. And if you have a news tip, photos, or video breaking news, let us know.
The federal office created 2 fast-track infrastructure projects could put Canadians on a fast track when they travel between Ontario and Quebec. BNN Bloomberg's Morella Fernandez has tonight's business report.
The federal government wants shovels in the ground on a high-speed rail line in 4 years. The 1,000-kilometer corridor would run between Toronto and Quebec City, zipping passengers along at 300 kilometers an hour. The trade minister says the new Major Projects Office will work to speed up engineering and other work, even though this didn't make the initial list of projects announced by the Prime Minister on Thursday. Canada Post and its union still haven't agreed on a contract for postal workers. The union representing the workers now says they will stop delivering flyers on Monday, but will start working overtime again. OT was banned in May as negotiations dragged on. A new survey reveals Canadians are saving more. The National Payroll Institute found 29% of Canadians saved $10,000 or more in the past year. That's up 6% from the previous year. The best savers? Gen Z, who save an average of 11% from each paycheck. Here's a look at how the trading day ended. The Canadian dollar is down to 72.23. West Texas Intermediate is up just a bit to 62.19. Western Canadian Select is down over $1 to 50.80. And the TSX dropped 124 points today, ending the week at 29,283. Those are your business headlines. I'm Morella Fernandez.
The Business Report is brought to you by Canadian Western Bank, the bank built for business.
Fall is just around the corner, and that means the City of Toronto is getting ready for a new round of recreation program registrations. More than 153,000 spaces are available in a range of athletic and cultural activities. Online registration opens Monday for programs reserved for older adults. Then Tuesday, it starts for residents in Toronto, East York, and Etobicoke, followed by North York and Scarborough on Wednesday. In-person registration support will also be available. Full details are on the city's website.
Well, the city is shining a spotlight on its fleet of electric vehicles.
It's all part of educating the public about Toronto's goal to cut down emissions. CTV's Scott Lightfoot has the story.
In recognition of World EV Day this week, the city was showing off a variety of its fossil fuel-free vehicles outside of City Hall.
We are showcasing the EVs across our city fleet. We also have our agencies and corporations here. We have TTC, Toronto Hydro.
From buses to garbage trucks, paramedic vehicles, even litter vacuums, they are all currently seen on city streets, and they're all powered by electrical current.
For the longest time, when you thought about electric vehicles, it really was kind of the personal vehicle, was the car. Now we're seeing kind of electric vehicles of all types.
The city also has a number of more traditional EVs as well. Currently, there are just over 1,200 EV assets in the city's fleet. The goal is to get that number to 13% of the total fleet by the end of this year.
We're, as a city, exploring what the feasibility looks like. How do we transition our fleet towards a zero emissions asset class? And so we're exploring all the different options that are out there and really working towards the transition plan.
It's all part of Transform TO, the city plan to get to zero emissions by 2040. And to get there, the city has to look at more than just what it's putting on the streets.
It's not just buying new vehicles. We've got to think about the electrical infrastructure. We've got to think about when people charge, how we charge.
We have about 400 chargers within our operations to support the city fleet. And then we have TPA, which does the public-facing charging network. They have well over 300 chargers as well.
The idea behind showing off the vehicles, both here and on the streets, is to show Torontonians that the future is electric.
But when they see them in action, when they see them in different types of uses, not just your typical uses, I think it really just kind of reiterates that electric vehicles are here. They can fit many purposes, and they're really important in terms of that switch over away from fossil fuels.
Scott Lightfoot, CTV News.
To sports, the Toronto Blue Jays begin a 3-game set against the Orioles tonight, looking for back-to-back wins.
Into left field, a base hit. Lucas around third on his way to the plate. It is 6-0.
Toronto beat the Astros in the finale of their series last night. The Jays head into tonight's game 3 games up on the Yankees for first place in the American League East. Chris Bassett gets the start for Toronto.
Just ahead, court time for a cure. Celebrities and kids shoot hoops in the battle against cancer. We hit the hard court in Regent Park.
Tonight, a major breakthrough in the manhunt.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We got him.
How the suspected shooter in the killing of Charlie Kirk was tracked down and the messages discovered on bullet casings. Later on CTV National News.
Get Toronto's top stories, breaking news alerts, and watch live. Download the CTV News app.
Finally tonight, hitting the court for a good cause.
A charitable basketball tournament took over the Regent Park Community Center, hoping to use a little star power in the battle against cancer. CTV's Sean Thong reports.
This is a battleground, but the game on the court is not the battle everyone is here to fight.
I believe basketball brings people together.
Actor Emmanuel Kabongo created the event called Battleground to raise money and awareness for cancer research and Princess Margaret Hospital.
Initially, I used to have a TIFF party, but then I wanted to kind of take a different step.
It started 3 years ago after his mother had been diagnosed with cancer, bringing his friends from the screen and the arts together to play ball at the Regent Park Community Center.
It's such an honor. I mean, the smile says it all, right? But it feels good. It feels honorable. And then the kids bring a whole different type of energy.
With kids from local schools there to bring energy.
It's very loud. The kids are screaming. I wish I was a better three-point shooter, but overall it's a great environment to be in.
And support Princess Margaret patients like Megan Love, who is currently battling breast cancer.
It's a very difficult thing to process, especially when you're in your young 30s. It's not something you would expect to hear being diagnosed like this.
We're all going to stretch our hands towards.
Love spoke to the crowd today and in return was circled in support, where she was brought to tears.
And the amount of love and support I've gotten, I think it's the most overwhelming part.
Love says she isn't scared and enjoys the chance to talk with people while going through treatment. While Kabongo says the money being raised is the second most important part.
Whether it's $1,000, $1 million, it really doesn't matter. At the end of the day, the purpose is to bring people together.
People together in this battle where he says defeat is not an option. Sean Leathong, CTV News.
Great story, great cause. And I'm thinking if they wanted to, they could have played outside today.
Oh, outdoor basketball, yes, make it happen because we've got glorious days ahead.
Yeah, and we still have a little bit of daylight before the sun sets tonight, shortly after 7:30. So get outside and enjoy it. Let's talk about tomorrow morning because it's going to be a nice start to the day. You'll likely notice a little more in the way of cloud cover overall for your Saturday, but it's not going to be a completely overcast day at that. And we do have a chance of showers. Perhaps best opportunity now is going to be in the morning or into the afternoon. The evening's looking a bit drier. Tomorrow's high, 25 degrees, humidex 29. Lots of sports happening in the city. The Jays are in town. Here's kickoff time for the Argos. That's at about 3 p.m. Again, just keep an eye on the sky for a sprinkle of rain, but otherwise it's a mix of sun and cloud. And then Sunday looks spectacular. Look at next week's humidex values. It's going to be feeling like summer again. Michelle and Nathan.
Thank you, Lindsay. And that is it for us. But be sure to join Heather Butts tonight at 11 for CTV National News, followed by Zarata Allman with your next local newscast at 11:30.
In the meantime, our coverage continues anytime on CP24 and at ctvnewstoronto.ca.
For Lindsay Morrison and all of us here at CTV News, thank you for watching and have a wonderful night.